John Miggins along with Terry Weimer and Antonio Petty. Butler in the dark uniforms, top-seeded Pitt in white. And the opening tap control to the Panthers. Ashton Gibbs controls it.
Gibbs only had 6 points in the first half of their first game. I look for him to be a little bit more aggressive here, Tim.
Gilbert Brown on the wing. McGee gets the rebound. The physicality of that Pitt front line is something that both Smith and Howard will have to deal with. Both have been in foul difficulty much of this season. And you see Brown inside the painted area with the game's first bucket.
He could be the key guy in how far Pitt advances in this tournament. They've got to get big games out of them. He's their most athletic player.
Howard, who can face up as well as post up, turns it over. Took an extra step.
Well, Howard, with Hayward last year, Howard was the anchor in the middle and played mostly in the pivot. But this year, with the progression of Andrew Smith, it's allowed him to be out on the perimeter much more. Really hard show on Wanamaker.
I think he may have lifted his pivot foot. He did. So back-to-back turnovers for both teams. And we'll go the other way. Shelvin Mack, who's triggering the basketball in for Butler, played for Jamie Dixon a couple of years back in the under-19 World Championships. So those two know a thing or two about one another.
Well, he's very much a Big East type of player and type of guard. Very tough, very physical, good size.
That shot does not fall for him. Gibbs brings it down. Strong move into the painted area, and a foul will be tagged against the Butler Bulldogs. It does go against Andrew Smith this first. Your keys.
Well, for Pittsburgh, one, they've got to win the battle of the backboard. So one of the best rebounding teams in the country, and they eat up the offensive glass and also limit turnovers. This is something that Jamie Dixon has been concerned with his team over the last few games.
Nasir Robinson at the free throw line. One of those wing players that can always slash to the back basket and get into double figures. If he does, that generally is good news for Pitt. Complimentary player. He missed both. Smith comes up with a rebound. Howard trying to work pick and roll. Nice dunk. Little high-low. Howard and Smith read one another so well. It's as if these guys have been together for 10 years.
Well, we talked about it. The improvement of Smith inside has allowed Howard to go outside. But what he did, he set a screen that time for Van Zandt and then just rolled right to the rim. Not good defense, not a good switch by Pitt.
Both play with a high degree of basketball intelligence, and Gibbs comes up.
He is their most aggressive scorer, Tim, and he really moves well without the basketball.
Howard puts it on the deck, almost turned it over. Shot clock under 10. Van Zandt launches and rattles home a deuce. That was inside the arc, and we're tied at 4.
Well, he's a very capable player, and the better of the shooters between the point guards and Norred and Van Zandt.
Through the years, Pitt's teams have at times struggled to score, but you get a feeling this year's edition, Mike, gets bailed out more by Ashton Gibbs than any other player in recent memory has. He sort of knows when to push the button.
Well, but he's the best three-point shooter, their best scorer, and Wanamaker certainly is a guy who has helped too.
Yeah, there's a dump into Robinson late. Shot clock winding down. We've got a violation. That time I thought Gibbs may have been a little too unselfish.
Well, and it was also that the problem is where Robinson caught the basketball. He was buried underneath the basket and he couldn't get a shot up.
And a reminder, with our new platforms this year, you're able to see more games, more head staged, obviously, in that matchup against Richmond. One winding down. And Uncasville referee on hand for that one. Plus other games you can keep an eye on as Howard comes away with the 3 ball.
You know, we asked him yesterday about how he likes playing on the perimeter. He says, I love it. He said, I got tired banging inside last year. I'd like to get out there. He says, now I know why the guards like it out here so much.
Boy, did you see that pick McGee set against him, which enabled Gilbert Brown to get free for that bucket?
Yeah, that was a trip to the chiropractor. I saw Howard's neck snap back a little bit that time.
No wonder he prefers being outside now. Butler with 3 field goals in their last 3 trips down the floor. Mack working on Brown. Howard from downtown. Count it!
Tim, that's the area where Butler can really put a lot of pressure on Pitt. It's much, 3-point shooting is much more of an arsenal, part of their arsenal than Pitt's.
Howard out to a scintillating start with 6 of their 10 points. And we've got a timeout. Against Old Dominion, the family of Matt Howard. There you see his 2 sisters watching the replay to make sure if it worked. And Amanda and Susie jumping for joy, knowing that it did indeed count. And the 3rd member of our broadcast team, there you see brother Lucas with them. The 3rd member of our broadcast team, Lewis Johnson, has more.
Yeah, Tim, I talked to the Howard family before the game, and I could really sense the emotional carryover from last year's run to the finals. It was Lucas telling me that all throughout that run, they just kept pinching themselves as they flew from region to region, saying, is this really happening? Yeah. Believe it or not, 10 brothers and sisters, 5 boys and girls, all watching tonight from Connorsville, Indiana, or Indianapolis. They are fired up.
Yes, they are. McGee dropping that one through. Lewis, Mike took me over to meet the entire family. You talk about a fantastic bunch. From basketball country as Shelvin Mack uses the glass.
Well, I'm sure the airlines are hoping that Butler advances with all the plane tickets they got to buy.
Absolutely. Fertile basketball country and the fertile family, indeed. Nice work inside as Nasir Robinson goes to work.
Right, so far both teams' strengths have been on play here in the first part of this game. Pitt dominating the paint inside, Butler working from the 3-point line.
Alley-oop for Stegall. Boy, what a pass by Mack.
Right, I don't know how many alley-oops Stegall has caught in his life, but that was a nice play, a good back pick up top.
Butler's made their last 6 shots. You know, Jamie Dixon prides himself and his team on getting a lot of rebounds. Well, if Butler keeps making this many shots, there won't be many rebounds to get. That's an air ball by Wanamaker.
A Villanova-esque circa 85 performance so far, and a miss right there.
Wanamaker out to Robinson. Good run out by Nasir Robinson.
Yeah, that's the one thing that Butler needs to concentrate on. Pitt on makes, and they'll rush it up the floor. They'll be opportunistic in getting out in transition.
Every Butler starter has a field goal.
2-3 zone now for Pitt.
Just playing a nylon song, and the Bulldogs up 5.
And that's one way to get a team out of a zone is that shot was unguardable and limited range for Shelvin Mack.
Look at Ashton Gibbs trying to work free, trying to skate away from Van Zandt off the bounce. Howard had it, lost it, and just tips it into the hands of Van Zandt.
Sean Van Zandt is going to have a long night tonight because he's going to have to run off a lot of screens chasing Ashton Gibbs around.
Smith working over McGee. Tried to go up and under. Gary with a nice job defensively.
Good deep catch that time by Smith.
Stegall coming up with a bump against Wanamaker as he was driving the basket. The second foul on Stegall.
This is a good 5 feet beyond the line right there. I mean, he has got legitimate 3-point range. The thing, one of the things that Brad Stevens was worried about, and he specifically named Brad Wanamaker, is his ability to draw fouls on his guards. He's very big and aggressive in putting the ball on the floor and using his size.
Dante Taylor is coming to the game, as has Lamar Patterson for Pittsburgh. Wanamaker, McGee taking a seat next to Jamie Dixon. Patterson off the inbound. Trayvon Woodall, the third reinforcement to come in, is heard from the sophomore from Brooklyn.
Boy, nothing better to come in and get a nice open look as your first shot. And maybe Butler lost track of where he was. He's very aggressive when he comes into the game, Tim, looking for his own number.
How many great players has Jamie Dixon had from the tri-state region, particularly New York, and Van Zandt continues to light it up. Now, this is the second set of Bulldogs that Pitts had to deal with UNC Asheville the other day. This group is really shooting the lights out.
Not only 8 of 11 from the floor, but 4 of 5 from 3 now.
Taylor setting the pick.
Better job that time of Howard showing and not getting a foul.
Brown got Marshall airborne. Kyle Marshall will pick up the foul. His first. Just in the game off of the Brad Stevens bench. 19 to lead the way. Yet another big victory for the A-10. And the winner of that Illinois-Kansas game will await.
Much smaller team out there for Butler on the floor now with Andrew Smith on the bench. Matt Howard's going to have to anchor the middle.
And a foul spotted.
Norred gets the hold.
Yep, Ronald Norred just into the game. Gets into the statistical column sooner than he originally thought he might. There's Gibbs off the inbounds. When in doubt, go to Ashton Gibbs.
Well, that's much too easy. I mean, you can't have just one screen and get him a wide open 15-foot jump shot. He's too dangerous to the score. But that was a well-executed baseline out of bounds play by Pitt.
Underneath, Dante Taylor. And I believe the jersey, or at least was holding Matt Howard, and he picks up the foul.
Well, this is going to be a tough matchup for Dante Taylor inside. He's used to guarding in the post, but Howard much quicker. Let's see if he takes him out on the perimeter a little bit.
On Thursday, Pittsburgh held UNC Asheville, Mike, to 3 for 19 from beyond the arc. Butler already's hit 4 in 5 attempts, as you mentioned, tonight.
Well, I'm sure in both timeouts that last go around they were talking about defense because Pitt's 8 of 11 from the floor.
Rebound by Gilbert Brown. Trayvon Woodall on the loose, giving it up. Patterson. And the rebound ripped down by Marshall for Butler. Mack again.
You've got to find him right over half court.
Well, foul goes against Patterson, and that's an elbow. Terry Weiner right there with the call, and because it is the elbow, Jamie Dixon a little upset, but they're going to go right to the monitor on this because of the emphasis placed on any blow above the shoulders. This could be 2 shots and the ball for Butler.
Yeah, and this, you know what, and you can clear out, but the reason, and Robinson, Nasir Robinson, Patterson gets the elbow up. Lamar Patterson, when he's clearing that rebound, and that's the call.
And this, they're going to call it, I think, just an offensive foul. They're going to say that he was awarded the space, and Jamie Dixon getting the explanation now. But if it had been done with more furor, I think that it would have been 2 shots in the ball. And again, fans are having difficulty, I believe, understanding this, but this is a decision that was made at the mid-season point by John Adams and all of NCAA's officiating crew.
And especially elbows that connect above the shoulder area. That's, I mean, it's an automatic call for the referees.
Zach Hahn from downtown again. They are raining threes in D.C.
Yeah, this when he gets his first one to go, good things happen for him. 80% of his field goal attempts are threes, so you've got to make him a driver.
Butler is 5 of 7 from downtown. That's the story of this game so far.
And that is that's much too much of a pace for Pitt to keep up with.
Wanamaker. That one goes crying off the front rim. Not a break as the ball caromed off of Norred and out of bounds. Last touch by Marshall. TNT this June. They're turning the courtroom upside down. This much fun should be illegal. Franklin and Bash series premiere this June, only on TNT. Andrew Smith coming back onto the floor, replacing Matt Howard. So Marshall stays in the game with Norred, Kahn, and Shelvin Mack. Temple has made a nice comeback on San Diego State. Inside, look at the work being done by Gibbs. Trying to get away from Norred. In traffic, Robinson loses it. And it'll go the other way.
I was going to call it. They're going to go timeout awarded.
Yep. Got the basketball, did Butler, and a timeout was awarded. 7-point lead for the Bulldogs. At prize possession, ball security. Butler has turned it over, Mike, one time. They did that on their first possession, not once since.
Both teams have been very efficient offensively, Tim. The defense has yet to show up in this game.
Little leaner does not fall. And Marshall comes away with a rebound. Norred, Mack, Marshall, Hahn, and Smith on the floor for Butler.
Now, granted, there haven't been many misses by Pitt, but I think that Butler has done a pretty good job of sealing off the defensive glass to this point.
Hahn. Followed by Marshall. Beautiful throwdown and a lack of blockout for Pitt. You rarely see that.
Well, that's the thing. Jamie Dixon talked about it. The last 3 losses they've had, they've been out-rebounded, and we'll restate the fact that Butler out-rebounded Old Dominion in their second-round win.
Gibbs off the curl again. Every time Pittsburgh really needs a hoop, Ashton Gibbs, the junior from Scotch Plains, New Jersey, has the answer.
Against Asheville, he really let everybody else become involved in the game early, but he's been much more aggressive, and he needed to be in this game to set the tone offensively.
Smith puts it on the deck against McGee, runs into a brick wall. Wanamaker and Gibbs bring it back the other way. Trayvon Woodall with a laser pass, but McGee can't convert. And another timeout taken with the ball on the deck. Presence of mind underneath. Mike, I believe you said yesterday as we were preparing for this game, these two guys would be key factors.
And Howard, a couple of threes, and Ashton Gibbs very aggressive. And Tim, I don't necessarily like that play from Butler. It's the second timeout that they've used to save a play. And in the first half, is a possession really, for the timeout. Good hustle play that time.
Butler and Pittsburgh in a fun 8-versus-1 matchup. Pittsburgh did take the first time out, Butler the second time out in those scramble situations. But I get your point. Many times I think we're guilty of giving credit for what seemingly is a smart play, and it not always is when you decide to take that time out. Mack. Whoa, it's an attack from Shelvin Mack.
He is just, 34% from 3, and he has got the green light in Brad Stevens' system. And the threes that he's had, I talked again that they are almost unguardable.
6 of 9 from downtown, and now an offensive foul against Wanamaker. First against Brad, we've got a timeout. A double-digit lead for the Bulldogs from basketball country. right, Greg, thank you. Butler has scored 28 points in less than 13 minutes without attempting a free throw. And they lead this one by 10 with 7 minutes to go here in Washington, D.C. Mack again. This time the iron unkind, and it's pulled down by Gibbs off the deck.
Well, and the reason why is because Butler has been relying so much on the jump shot and the three. They really haven't been close to getting fouled. Not a lot of touches in this game so far for Andrew Smith in the post or Howard.
Well, that is the second foul on Andrew Smith, and it's not rare when that occurs before halftime. But learning to play with foul difficulty is something both he and Matt Howard have accomplished.
And that one was unnecessary and puts his team in a bind. It's interesting. He leads this team in fouls, Tim, but he has never fouled out of a game this year.
It's amazing. And if you recall, they got great play from Garrett Butcher coming off the bench in that win against UNC Nashville that they had. Well, there's a missed shot. Howard coming away with it. In that game against Old Dominion, Garrett Butcher came off the bench and really did the job while Smith was saddled with foul difficulty.
Wow, and it's interesting. He's had knee issues and really hasn't practiced all year, so you wonder about his availability in this game. But so far, Kyle Marshall has gotten the call, a little bit more athletic and done very well inside.
And against a team like Pittsburgh, you're thinking that is the better call to make, to go with Marshall. Matt penetrating the zone, and a runner off the window.
That was two screens against the zone, one up top by Marshall, and then Howard sealed inside to let him get to the rim. Great play.
Sheldon Mack with 10. Butler leads by 12. Gibbs off the curl. Lost that one on the way up. Van Zandt, Norred, Marshall, Mack, and Howard on the floor. There's the dump down to Howard. McGee, the rebound.
A play that Howard needs to finish inside. Granted, it was with the left hand, but he had Wanamaker on his back. That is a mismatch defensively.
Brown, beautiful bounce pass. Well done to Nasir Robinson.
Gilbert Brown averages just under 3 assists a game, Tim, so he's a pretty good playmaker from his position. No double team coming.
Howard over that left side. McGee with a lot of contact.
Yeah, I thought Robinson actually got away with a slap.
Wanamaker. Rejected it, goes the other way. Van Zandt. Loose ball taken down by Brad Wanamaker. Pittsburgh, not a high-scoring or offensively powerful basketball team, so when they get down by double digits, it's difficult for them. You see them working it inside to McGee, and he gets fouled inside.
Well, this is great hustle by Howard getting back into the play, just snuffing it out.
Number 23, Kyle Marshall, his second 17th foul. 52, Gary McGee from the line, shooting 2.
Foul win against Kyle Marshall, his second. Get the latest gear for your team at the official store of the NCAA. Find great hoops merchandise at ncaa.com/shop.
Garrett Butcher is now forced into action.
This is the first playing time for him tonight. That's the first free throw for either team in this half.
Well, it's not Pitt 0 for 4 at the line.
Well,
had a couple misses earlier.
Now the first free throw made, I should have said, as you see Gibbs putting it in. It's the first made free throw. And Gibbs comes away with a big one. 30-24, Butler by 6. The lead was 12 just a moment ago.
Tough matchup for McGee to guard outside, but he did a nice job forcing Howard to his left hand. It's a couple of times he's missed with his left on the finish.
Pittsburgh, you smell a run with this team right now as Patterson gives it up. Gilbert Brown from downtown. Timeout Butler. A 9-0 Pitt run. They were the best team in the Big East, and they are playing like that right now. Both teams with 12 field goals. Butler had that scintillating start, particularly from downtown, and Pittsburgh making its run now as Butler begins to settle and become a bit more mortal from beyond the arc.
So they've calmed down there, and then the two best three-point shooters for Pitt, Gilbert Brown and Ashton Gibbs, have stepped up.
Howard from deep. Woodall the rebound.
No second chance opportunities for Butler. Pitt starting to move ahead in the rebounding department. Brown really wants to post up Van Zandt.
Oh, the iron kind to Gilbert Brown, and the senior from Harrisburg, PA, brings Pittsburgh to within one. He's got 9 points.
That's a tough cover for Sean Van Zandt down low because of the size that Brown brings. Good recognition that time to get him the ball down low.
Panthers fan base is on their feet. Shelvin Mack once again.
And Lamar Patterson played that pretty well. That's just a great shooter beating you.
Oh, his biorhythm level must have been fantastic this morning. He is on fire. Patterson, that rainbow off the back iron, and Dante Taylor going over the back of Howard, who had position, picks up the foul. Butler leading it by 4, 33-29. An amazing NCAA tournament resume has been built by Brad Stevens. Lewis Johnson has more on what he detailed for us yesterday.
Yeah, I tell you, we talked with him, and he said his first March Madness experience was a big circus, interrupted by 40 minutes of basketball. Then you fast forward to that last week last year, getting to the finals, and he said they felt like they were really in tune with what was at stake. Tonight he walked in and said execution will be the key, and so far they've done that well, but now the lead's slipping away.
Well, just as you mentioned that, Howard making a nice play with beautiful execution.
First points in 13 minutes for him after 2 initial threes, but a great slip of the screen that time.
Wanamaker, air ball, but last touched by Butler. Pittsburgh will have it underneath their own hoop.
Well, you see him come over and then the dive down low afterwards. And this is the slip of the screen. Beautiful play, no recognition on the weak side. Just a couple of guards standing there for Pitt.
Butcher leaves the game. Kyle Marshall back in for Brad Stevens. And Brown takes the inbounds, and Woodall pumps, not there. Inside, McGee is fouled. And we see the matchup between San Diego State and Temple beginning to wind down. For those of you that would like to get some of that, we urge you to check out our colleagues Vern Lundquist and Bill Rafter. Check that. Kevin Harlan, Reggie Miller, and Dan Bonner have that one underway.
Tim, I kind of like that play with McGee. If he's around the rim area, put him on the line and foul for profit. He's 49% there on the year. Don't give him a dunk.
Rafter would like to do that game. He'd like to be at all of these regionals. Well, for instant analysis and highlights of every tournament game, log on to SI.com.
Pitt now 1 of 5 from the free throw line, and that's an area now Butler has yet to get there in this game because of the jump shooting, but still, that's an area of concern for Pitt.
They almost by design figure to get to the free throw line more than the opposition, Pittsburgh, don't they? Just by the way they play.
Well, and it's not through post-ups where they get to the line is crashing the boards and have you having to check out. It's not a traditional way, but that's how they stack up fouls.
And so not there. Gilbert Brown pulls it down. Pittsburgh's perimeter shooting has cooled off with the exception of Shelvin Mack. Nice defensive work by Butcher as McGee touched it last, and the Bulldogs get it back, leading by 5 with a minute and change remaining.
6 turnovers for Pitt, but what the thing I love about it, they've got 11 assists on 13 made field goals. That is an outstanding ratio.
It is. And no panic when they fell behind by 12, as Butler was just lighting it up. And as we said, they're not the kind of team that's very comfortable down double digits. They usually control the pace of play. Mack.
I mean, he had both of the guys at the top of the zone were standing 3 feet from him, but had their hands down.
He is absolutely schooling his old coach's team from the World Championships under 19 a couple of years ago. 4 of 7 from downtown, 16 points for Shelvin Mack. Brown, a baseline drive, gives it up to McGee. That's a wrap.
I mean, that's a good 6 feet out there from the 3-point line. And look, he's one hand up, and she's just shot right in between the two of them. And it's funny, talk about that under-19 team, and Jamie Dixon was talking to us about it. It was built like a European team. It was a great shooting team, so this should be no surprise that Shelvin Mack is knocking these down.
Yeah, he was saying that we didn't play it all the way I normally coach my teams in Pittsburgh. I had to adjust to the talent I had. Gordon Hayward, by the way, was also on that team and admitted openly that he was really the best player they had. Shot clock off. They'll wait for one. Howard gives it to Van Zandt. He pops. And we've come to the intermission. Butler led by as many as 12. Pittsburgh made a run. And Shelvin Mack continued to absolutely scorch the nets. Butler gets 8 3-pointers, 4 of them by Mack. All right, Ernie, and moments ago, our Lewis Johnson spoke with Jamie Dixon of Pittsburgh.
Jamie, what was your message at halftime about the next 20 minutes?
Well, obviously, we got guarded the threes. They got 24 of the 38 on threes, 8 for 16. So defensively, we hurt ourselves with just that lack of execution. Offensively, we got good shots. We out-rebounded them. So we did some good things, but we got guarded the 3, obviously.
Good luck.
Thanks.
You know, Mike, 3 of Butler's 8 trays came after Pitt turnovers, so they felt like backbreakers at the time.
And that was what Jamie Dixon talked about to us, and one of our keys was to limit turnovers, and 7 points, and I think McGee got away with a hold right there.
And we have a tie ball as we open play in the second half. The arrow is going the other way, so Pittsburgh will have it. And tonight's game is brought to you at HD TV by LG. Life is good.
But it's 7 turnovers for Pitt and 9 points as a result of that. So pretty opportunistic by Butler, and that's an area that Pitt has to clean up in this half.
Very rare when you look at a halftime stat sheet as Gibbs puts it in, where you see Pitt with only 1 steal, no points off turnovers, and no fast break points. But that's what we had in half number 1 for Jamie Dixon's squad.
And a very good screen that time by McGee to free up Gibbs.
Smith, little jump hook over McGee, not there. Loose ball run down by Ashton Gibbs.
Well, that was an offensive rebound that was right there for Howard. He couldn't come up with the ball.
Wanamaker. Brown tried to top it up in hopes that maybe McGee could go get it, but Shelvin Mack comes out of there with it.
You know, Jamie Dixon told Lewis that they were a plus rebounding, but they've had 5 offensive rebounds, only 6 second chance points.
Doesn't stop for Shelvin Mack.
Jamie Dixon's just got to be shaking his head right now. I mean, what do I have to do to put this guy, put the fire out? 5 of 8 from 3.
19 points. 90 seconds deep here in the second half. Gilbert Brown answers for Pitt.
Well, it's so far the offense for Pitt has been Brown and Gibbs.
His family's just a couple of hours away. You may recall Sam Young was from D.C. There are a lot of young men with his Pittsburgh team who are very acquainted with this area of the country and have a lot of family on hand. As you see a foul committed by Nasir Robinson, his first. How about that first half?
Well, and then a lot of these, look how far beyond the 3-point line he is. A lot of these were unguardable, and Butler really does a wonderful job of running their offense. They've got a deep playbook, and they execute extremely well.
Mack got airborne trying to get it to Andrew Smith. It's out of bounds to Pittsburgh.
Never leave your feet as a passer, always as a scorer, and that time the defense able to cut off his passing lane to Smith inside.
And you see those Scores up at the top of your screen, and that matchup over on TNT, as Ernie Johnson mentioned, between Temple and San Diego State. And
could be a really good day for the A-10 so far with Richmond in the big win early.
How about that? Congratulations to Donnie Tyndall, though, in Morehead State, for that team to go as far as it did and get that huge win against Louisville. And I loved Coach Pitino's demeanor earlier today in our Studio 43 at CBS in New York, the way he handled defeat. You see Wanamaker inside.
So tough in the paint area. I think to the big step, Butler's done a good job today, Tim, of playing without fouling and defending without fouling.
Smith not there. McGee corrals the rebound.
They're trying to get him some touches early on to get him involved in the offense. He's missed a couple of easy jump hooks.
Robinson softly down with the left hand, and it's 41-39. A 7-0 run. Pittsburgh comes out with a purpose. Less than 3 minutes gone, second half. All right, Greg, here Pittsburgh storming back and down by only 2.
Butler played the first half, Tim, with only 2 turnovers. They've had 2 turns in the first 3 minutes already. 4 points for Pitt as a result. Pitt's amped their defense up.
Just as Jamie Dixon told our Lewis Johnson at halftime. Morehead getting the pick from Howard. Matt Howard's been noticeably quiet since the early moments of this game for Butler. Shelvin Mack hasn't, but they have snuffed out Howard offensively of late. Just 2 points in the last 21 minutes. That's an offensive foul on Kyle Marshall. Brad Stevens does not agree.
Yeah, that was a pretty good call. And Gilbert Brown stepping in. They tried running that little high screen and then the go from Kyle Marshall. There's the pass. Yeah, he was there in plenty of time. That's a good call. I think if you're Matt Howard, you really have to take a look out of the corner of your eye, and he kind of led Marshall into that offensive foul.
Robinson trying to blow by Marshall. Howard snares it out of the air for Butler. They've got a taller defender now working on Mack, as you see Gilbert Brown keeping an eye on him off the ball. Marshall can't get that one to go halfway down the cylinder. McGee to rebound.
Normally a reliable shooter, 52%. They got the switch, and they were so concerned with Mack that Marshall got a good look but couldn't convert.
Robinson needs some help. Brown comes in there to get him some.
Just got out of the 3-second call.
Wanamaker, great look down low. Beautifully done inside to Nasir Robinson. We're tied at 41.
Well, Robinson was hungry to score on that possession. Did a nice job to get out of the violation and then just kept moving with the ball.
San Diego State now up 3 on Temple with time winding down in overtime.
Double OT.
Yep, double OT over on TNT. It's dynamite, the NCAA tournament. All right, Greg, a lot of people with their brackets looking forward to a potential Steve Fisher versus Mike Krzyzewski matchup, bringing back memories of the old days with the Fab Five. San Diego State going to Anaheim, and a lot of people feeling that Duke might be on an opportunity to catch up with them.
Tim, I'm looking at Matt Howard out there in the last couple of minutes, and he looks really tired, and it was really evident on that shot from the 3 that came up short.
Wanamaker comes back the other way to give Pitt the lead by 2. That's their first lead since it was 4-2 with 17:53 remaining in the first half. Van Zandt off the bounce. He cans it, and we're tied.
Yeah, somebody else is going to have to step up. They're going to zero in on Shelvin Mack, and with Howard tired, Van Zandt, a very high percentage shooter, but Pitt changing their defenses, going alternating zone and man.
Well, they need another score, does Butler, because Mack had 14 of their last 18 points, and maybe Van Zandt is the answer.
Well, he's on fire from three, but I don't understand. He's got a shorter cover on him. Work him into the paint somehow.
15 for Gilbert Brown. 6 of 7 from the floor.
3 of 4 from three.
Back in traffic, gives it up to Howard, wide open for three.
Yeah, much better, had his legs underneath him that time.
Only had 2 3-point field goals in his career coming into this year. What a difference a position change can make. Brown with a ball fake, but Mack would have none of it. Wanamaker, not this time. Howard clears.
Brad Stevens want to gain control of the tempo a little bit here, slow things down.
Mack over Patterson. Shelvin Mack's attack will not stop. 48-46. He has 21, his first bucket of the second half.
The hitting is definitely beating the pitching in that matchup, and they have put some tall covers on him. Lamar Patterson that time at 6'5".
Trayvon Woodall trying to make a move baseline. Offensive foul. We go the other way. Lamar Patterson's second.
Here's the look inside, and what a nice step up. Again, there aren't shot blockers along the front line for Butler, but you have to be wary of guys stepping in and taking charges.
That first turnover committed by Pittsburgh in this half. They have had outstanding execution on that end of the floor.
It's been amazing to me in this game, the percentage of shooting that's been on display. Both teams Pitt at 57%, Butler at 52%, and these are two good defensive ball clubs.
Now, this is easily a game that could have been played next week. I mean, Butler far better than their seeding, and of course you knew Pittsburgh coming in would have a chip on their shoulder. Wanamaker, nice pass inside, and a foul underneath. Howard and Andrew Smith were converging. A couple of days ago, Mike, I should have said my hometown and neighboring town, Bossier City as well. Shreveport and Bossier will be hosting an NCAA women's first-round matchup.
Why don't we just talk about the whole state of Louisiana?
Had to get it in.
Yeah, you got free dinner somewhere down there as a result of that plug.
By the way, you'll get red carpet treatment the moment you step off the airplane, okay? By the way, check out the Powerade Ion 4-point performance ranking system to get a peek into the science behind tournament success. See where your team ranks at ncaa.com/Powerade. A remarkable game. Both teams just absolutely scintillating on the offensive end of the floor.
Butler still has not shot a free throw in this game, Tim.
Norred on a dribble drive. That's an offensive foul. Well done by Nasir Robinson, and Norred has 2.
Both teams have done a terrific job of stepping in drivers. You're going to have to consider pulling up and shooting a floater in this game. You watch it right here. The left-handed drive, that's a good play. Both teams committing to taking the charge.
It's not easy to light up either one of these two teams, and both of them have been very effective from an offensive standpoint. Woodall. Trayvon Woodall. Sophomore from St. Anthony's in Brooklyn. 51-48 Pittsburgh.
Ashton Gibbs has been quiet in this half, but other guys have stepped up for Pitt and gotten the scoring column.
Hahn, Norred, Howard, Mack, And Smith, the 5 on the floor. That's a block. As Robinson hits the deck, picks up the personal, his second. Well, the Michigan-Tennessee game, I believe, is the other game in this NCAA tournament where a squad not only moved on and advanced by a large margin, but did not shoot a free throw.
52 or 3% of their attempts. They're 10 of 20, 38 field goal attempts. 20 of them have been threes in this game.
Howard from downtown. Smith tried to keep it alive. That one just grazed the rim. Woodall comes out of there with it. Robinson.
Good no call with the screen up top, a screen roll. Monsieur Robinson doing a lot of his work in the paint.
Pittsburgh opens up a 5-point lead.
Pick and pop.
Matt with the dump down to Smith. In traffic, fouled by McGee. This was a flop, wasn't it?
No, that's a good slip of the screen, and there's just really nothing there. No contact. Robinson had pulled up. Andrew Smith trying to buy it inside. A good no call. Down the other end, I think the velocity changing a little bit, and Jamie Dixon told Lewis Johnson about that, defending the 3. They'll live with giving Andrew Smith touches in the paint.
He shot 63%, led the Horizon League from the floor. Very efficient basketball player, Andrew Smith. First free throw attempts for Butler, and he converts them. And Kyle Marshall checks back into the game, and Smith sits down.
I really think that Brad Stevens just trying to get Smith maybe under the 8-minute mark with only 2 personal fouls to get him into the meat of the game.
Gibbs. Norad deflected that one. Taylor, offensive foul. Jamie Dixon doesn't believe it. Now, that's an example, I believe, of what can happen at times in NCAA tournament play that would be a play-on in the Big East.
No, I disagree, Tim. That was a dip of the shoulder by Taylor. A clear offensive foul. Watch right here. He's going to get the offense. It's under deflection. And that's he got the elbow. That was a great call.
Yep. Well, I'm not saying it was... I'm just simply saying that they're accustomed to play-ons in the Big East when there's that much contact. I agree with you. It was a good call. Matt. Off the backhand, Gibbs the rebound. Jamie Dixon's reaction told me that he was accustomed to a play-on there. Brown, not there. Oh, yeah! It's going the other way. Offensive foul. Well, he's been outstanding tonight. That one doesn't count, Mike, but what a performance Gilbert Brown is putting on.
Right now, and his 3-point shooting early on is setting up his drive. Howard coming out. I don't know about that one.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like Howard had not established starting position, was late getting there.
I agree. You have to make adjustments to officials from all across the country when you get into this tournament. Hands there, not there, out of bounds. It belongs to Butler. Just over 9 minutes remaining here in Washington. The winner advances to New Orleans, and those boos are coming primarily from the Pitt partisans over those last 2 plays that G-Man touched on.
Not an empty seat here, Tim. This is a great basketball crowd.
Howard, not there. What work by Marshall against the tall trees. Kyle Marshall brings Butler to within 1.
And he gets a little fist pump, and he should be proud of himself. He just outworked everybody for Pitt. White jerseys nailed to the floor on that offensive rebound.
Timeout. Jamie Dixon wants to talk about it, settle his guys down. How about the hard work? They're decked out in blue. Bring your lunch pail to our nation's capital.
Percentage for Butler starting to come down now, just about 45%. Pitt still at around 58%.
Pittsburgh somewhat stymied with 10 turnovers and 5 offensive fouls, and the ones most recently have rankled their head coach and many people in this crowd.
And they're doing this without Ashton Gibbs really being a part of the offense.
his man airborne, will get to the line.
Boy, is he any good at that, too. And he just loves the pump fake inside. You've got to hold your ground. And he has a real knack for getting to the free throw line.
Hear that sarcastic ovation from the Pitt partisans? Wanamaker to the free throw line.
This senior class team has been a #1 seed in the NCAA tournament 2 times. That's a tremendous accomplishment.
Really is. And it's not as if, I mean, let's face it, they've had a marvelous run in NCAA tournament play. They just have not gotten to the promised land, the Final Four.
School record 10 straight trips and 6 times out of 10 getting to the Sweet 16. There are a lot of programs in the country that would like that run.
I agree with you. Chase Stegall checks into the game for Butler. I go back to the late Al McGuire, old friend and former partner of mine in the NCAA tournament. I think it reminds us all that just getting to the Final Four is a difficult accomplishment. Winning it means everything, but getting there also means a lot. Pick and pop for Howard. He finds Marshall cutting in the lane. He's fouled. Timeout. All right, Greg, and another Player of the Year candidate, Kimball Walker, will be on display later tonight. He will be showcased in the backcourt.
I'll tell you, look at defensively what Pitt has done, and that's only 15 points now in 12 minutes of this half for Butler, and they've turned an 8-point halftime deficit into a 2-point lead. So they have really done a nice job on this end of the floor, and Marshall, only a 54% free throw shooter, knocks 2 down.
55-54. You watch this Pittsburgh team and you have to marvel at the way they allow their guards by committee to do the job. There's Gibbs really inducing the foul.
Chase Stegall gets the hold that time, and again, he's been running off screens, and it gets tiring after a while. That was just a blatant grab.
TBS weeknights, Wild and Nocturnal. Catch Conan in his natural habitat on TBS. All new Conan weeknights at 11:10 Central, only on TBS. Wanamaker just sticks his nose in there and penetrates, whether you like it or not, leading to that hoop. A little floater for Brown.
It's been Gilbert Brown who has really stepped up and played well in this game. And boy, it's funny, both Gibbs and Mack have been pretty quiet in this half.
Brown, 17 points, 7 of 8 from the floor. Mack inside to Howard. He's quickly doubled. Almost lost it. Beautiful save by Howard. Shot clock nearing 10. And Brad Stevens calls him his workhorse. Let's see if he does it again. Right on cue. The workhorse ties it at 57.
They got the switch, and McGee was really reluctant to come out and get a hand up. He just gave Mack room.
Wanamaker again with good penetration, right back to Brown, and he's fouled. And that'll be from beyond the arc. That'll be 3.
Here's the play. You see the switch right there, and usually they won't switch on the 5 outside on any interchange, but that gave him plenty of room.
Number 5, Gilbert Brown at the line.
3 shots coming for Gilbert Brown after that foul by Mack. He has really improved over time. His game has blossomed. He is getting the shooter's touch tonight. That one got all of the cylinder and dropped through. He had the best. Gilbert Brown a year ago, when you think about it, Mike, he had the best of any of his teammates in the NCAA tournament last year. He averaged 15.5 in their first couple of games a season ago. He really loves this stage in March.
Well, and there are people around the program, again, a lot of attention on Ashton Gibbs, and rightfully so. But he's the guy that can step up and be that secondary scorer along with him, and he's done it in this game.
Just over 6 remaining. 7 ties. Largest lead was a dozen for Butler coming in the first half.
Tough cover for McGee with Howard out on the perimeter.
Shot clock under 10. Not surprisingly, Shelvin Mack's got it. Got his man airborne. Shelvin Mack!
Well, it was just that pump fake enough that got the long cover and Gilbert Brown on him. But he had the presence of mind to pump fake with about 2 seconds left and still got the shot off.
What a performance. 7 of 11 from downtown. 27 for Mack. Off the curl, Gibbs tries to answer, loses it. Mack comes away with it. Nice presence of mind by Mack as he knocked it off the Pitt defender.
Look at this. Clock running down. He sees it. The little pump fake gets Brown up.
Wow.
Mack the knife.
Oh. Wake up the echoes of Bobby Darin, G-Man. What a performance by Mack. And he's really the kind of guard you would expect Jamie Dixon to have on his team. Howard goes reversal.
I tell you, that's a tough cover for Gary McGee. Even in the post, there's a big quickness difference there.
Serving it up, the Butler getting it done, coming from down 5. Mack the knife and Howard doing the deed. Southeast region play here in Washington, D.C. with Lewis Johnson and the G-Man Mike Jaminski, Tim Brando. Butler leading it by 2. Wouldn't you agree this is the kind of game that we could possibly be seeing next week in the round of 16? It's been that high quality.
No, absolutely. And you know what? Butler is, again, the defending runner-up and playing a much higher seed than what they're given. And it's a terrific game.
There is carryover in intercollegiate athletics. Teams just draw so much from the experience of having gone the distance, and the veteran players never want to play their last game. Never. Brown in traffic. A rare miss, and Norwood comes down with a rebound. He's only missed twice from the floor tonight. Marshall sets the pick, and there's the dribble drive. That's going to be a block.
Gilbert Brown gets the foul that time.
That's his 3rd. Nine team fouls now against Pittsburgh.
Well, that's what happens here with Shelvin Mack. You've got to honor the jump shot. He's obviously proven he can knock the 3 down. It forces Brown to guard him, and he just took him off the dribble.
You talk so often, Mike, about skill set. And this Butler team is filled with players that have outstanding basketball skill and acumen.
Well, and the thing is, it's impressive to me. They run a lot of sets. They have a very deep playbook. They really cut hard, and they execute as well as any team I've seen in the half court.
I remember last week a number of people saying, well, this bracket looks like a runaway for Pittsburgh. They weren't thinking about how good Butler had become when they said that. Wanamaker in traffic. And there's the putback by Nasir Robinson.
And let's see, over these last 4 minutes, that has not been a big part of Pitt's offense. They haven't had to bury people on the offensive glass because they've been shooting at a high level, a high percentage.
That bucket into the 7-0 run for Butler. Mack, beautiful entry to Howard. In traffic, and he's fouled. Nasir Robinson picks it up. Butler leads by 2. We'll be back. If you're wondering why composure is not in question for Butler, consider their last 3 NCAA tournament games. A 2-point win at the Final Four. And then the loss when Hayward almost had the historic shot to Duke in the title game. And then Howard's saving grace against Old Dominion. And Brad Stevens, when you think about it, Mike, here's a guy that got to the 100-win plateau faster than all but 5 men in the profession. And those 5 men, Doc Ninwell, Buck Freeman, Adolph Rupp, and Jim Boeheim. That's one guy that's mature beyond his years, and so is his team.
Well, this is not an 8 seed as far as tournament experience or as far as pride is concerned, and I'm sure that Jamie Dixon is thinking this is not an 8 seed either that I'm playing out here.
We take a look at our game summary. Both teams really executing at a high level. Pittsburgh winning on the glass. And that's saying something, as well as Butler shot the ball in the first half. Butler scored on their last 7 trips. The lead is 4, 66-62. Interesting to point out, Mike, that Kyle Marshall has played so well that Stevens has decided from a matchup standpoint to go with him rather than Andrew Smith.
Well, but it's not a big team.
Gilbert Brown answers from downtown.
But that guy's been big in this game. He's been solid, and he's been just as good from 3-point range as inside. 4 or 5, both areas.
Shelvin Mack's 29 points for Butler is a school record for the NCAA tournament. The lead down to 1.
Great matchup with Wanamaker on Shelvin Mack. Trying to work that 2-man game with Howard to put some pressure.
There he is again. Boy, you just have a feeling every one of them will go. That one just not quite. The foul does not go, and we've got a foul underneath. It'll go against Pittsburgh. Dante Taylor went high in the air to get the offensive rebound, and Woodall got the foul.
Well, I didn't like the decision by Woodall, and he compounds it by getting the foul right there. There were no numbers and no board coverage on that play, and then you come in and you try to get it back.
At the line for the Bulldogs, number 1.
Put an 80% free throw shooter who's on fire at the free throw line.
This could get him to 30, and he's already got the school record. Gary McGee and Nasir Robinson checked in for Trayvon Woodall and Dante Taylor. We had a chance to visit with a number of the players yesterday, Mike, and it's so engaging, that opportunity. I know it's the most fun that you have at the NCAA tournament, the candor of these young men.
Well, no cameras around, not a lot of press, and an unusual miss for Mack in that situation. But you really see the personalities in these guys.
How badly they want it. Wanamaker in traffic to McGee. And a foul. What a dish by Wanamaker. Get it inside and shake that, Wanamaker. Inside, what a pass that was.
He's the guy, Tim. They're going to put the ball in his hands at the end of the game, and what a terrific play. McGee gets his points off offensive rebounds and finishes inside, not straight post-ups, and you see Wanamaker knowing that he had a great pass.
Oh, ring it up. I mean, that for him felt every bit as good as any three-point shot that could fall. Tied at 67 with 2:25 left. Smith has come back onto the floor. Van Zandt off the curl. Rebound to Gilbert Brown.
I'd say defensively, the marching orders for Jamie Dixon. Everybody can get a shot up except Shelvin Mack.
Fouled by Smith. Take a look at our. You see the foul going against Smith.
That's again the unnecessary foul, but if you're a guard and you get a big showing out at you, you drive the ball right at him. A terrific decision by Brad Wanamaker.
Third foul on Smith. Brad Wanamaker, just the 8th player in Pittsburgh history with 1,000 points, 400+ assists in his career. He started every game the last 2 seasons. Doesn't always bring it over the timeline, but when they get into the front court, they want him to wheel and deal. 8 points, 7 Sunday best dishes on a Saturday night. It's a 2-point Pitt lead. foul underneath. Goes against Gilbert Brown as we look at our tournament summary. A couple of Final Four teams from 2010 have been eliminated. The Huggy Bear goes down, as does Tom Izzo. Remarkable second-half performance for that young Kentucky team today. Florida making a return engagement to the Sweet 16. Billy Donovan's team, very mature, and Chandler Parsons playing at a very high level.
I think it's one of his best coaching jobs this year. But Tim, you saw right there. I mean, Andrew Smith got lost in the mix, but Pitt is so focused on guarding out at the three-point line. And they actually come away well in that transaction.
He hits one out of the two. 69-68.
2 points this half from that guy with the ball. Ashton Gibbs, their leading scorer.
Jamie Dixon wants to take up. 1:13 remaining, a one-point game. Does it get any better? Would you like to be anywhere else? Jamie Dixon obviously felt that was important enough a sequence that he needed a timeout. That leaves them only one. Butler with 2 remaining.
What happened was they were running Gibbs off screens, 3 of them, and Van Zandt stayed with him on the play, and that's why it was still with 13 seconds. There's enough time to get it inbounds and make a run.
A reactionary game for players and a game of instincts for coaches. Always helps to have a player like Wanamaker running the show. Brown with the ball fake. Too strong that time. Norwood brings it down. Norwood has it, and Brad Stevens wants a timeout. Tim Brando, Mike Jaminski, Lewis Johnson. You look at our game reset. Well, partner, we had the first buzzer beater of the 2011 NCAA tournament, and we may be on the brink of seeing the first number 1 knocked out of this NCAA tournament field.
Well, and you look at it, Brad Wanamaker is going to get the call with Shelvin Mack, and I can't imagine the ball in anyone else's hands.
In the last 9 minutes, no one has led by more than 4. Mack and Howard, little two-man game, he short-armed it. Smith with the instincts to get to it. Loose ball run down by Wanamaker.
Don't have to foul in this situation. Plenty of time between shot and game clock. Pitt, I like getting something going to the rim. Put the referees, make them make a call.
Ashton Gibbs will initiate with under 10 on the shot clock. Wanamaker trying to work pick and roll. Good show by Butler. The pass inside Robinson. Gibbs, that will not count. That will not count. Shot clock violation. So Butler with a chance to win it on this possession. 8.9 left. Brad Stevens electing not to use a timeout.
I think Brad Stevens wants to get him to dribble over, use a couple of seconds to get it over half court.
And understand exactly where they're getting the basketball, I think, is also important to them. And maybe they're going to check the clock as well from where the shot was taken and how much of a differential there was between the shot clock and the game clock. That is, I think, a good thought process here.
Well, right here, Butler did a terrific job.
Okay, so you should have 9.3, not 8.9.
But that was just a great scramble, and Pitt really didn't get anything going into the rim. They did a nice job of sealing off and making them play around the perimeter.
When the shot clock ran out, the game clock had 9.2. So my guess is that's where we'll head with the clock.
9.9 they're going to give them.
Oh, 9.9, okay. Well, that extra tip is 9.2. It is now 10. Well, it's got to be Mack.
And what that did, just by looking at that, gives Butler a chance to set up the last play.
It was a free timeout, no question. Shelvin Mack, a career high.
Yep, they're going to get it right over to in front of the rim.
Good call by the G-Man. 7.1 will be left on the clock. Coming down to the wire in Washington, D.C. ordinarily, you look at our game reset here. Butler down by 1 with 7.1 left. Ordinarily, Mike, you would like to think you can get the ball on the rim so that there's an opportunity for an offensive rebound and putback. But how do you construct something to get that kind of shot so quickly?
Well, I want you want to give yourself a couple of seconds just for the opportunity, like they did in the game against Old Dominion.
Last year, they made it all the way to the final game. They won with a buzzer beater in the opening round. And Jamie Dixon takes a look at the offensive set, and he calls a timeout. All right, my friend, the soothsayer, who gets it?
Well, I think it's either Mack or Howard, but how about this? Each team relying on their strength to win the game. Pitt their defense, Butler their offense.
There's what's at stake, a trip to the Sweet 16 in New Orleans. Mack will trigger in the inbounds pass to Van Zandt. He drives, left to Smith. He got it! Andrew Smith, the super sub. Van Zandt did it with the dribble drive again. There's a foul with .9 left. Brad Stevens can't believe it.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. You can see right now Gilbert Brown is just trying to collect himself. It's going to be 2 shots, too. They're in a double bonus.
Shelvin Mack, the veteran player, the man who's done it all tonight, a career night, a tournament record. He cannot believe the whistle came.
All right, he just ran into him. It looks like there may be more time. I'm going to see where the referee called the foul, but there may be more than .9 seconds left here.
Mike, there's an old saying, and I'll go back to 1989, the NCAA Final Four. John Clougherty, the block charge call with Ramil Robinson. There's an old saying, a foul is a foul, whether there are 2 seconds left, a second left, or you're a second into the game. Now, admittedly, since that foul occurred, there was a thought that perhaps officials would swallow the whistle with that little time left, but there was clear contact there. I mean, no doubt about it.
Mack ran right into him. That would have been a very, very difficult catch and shoot for Gilbert Brown, but he's at 78% with the game in his hands.
Wow, and how about the play design to get it to Andrew Smith, using both Mack and Howard as decoys.
And I had a little Shelvin Mack, a little gamesmanship. I don't know if I like that right now, going over and standing in the free throw line, but it came before that, and there's just you can't be anywhere around that play.
No. All right, Shelvin is standing right in the middle of the lane.
Well, and Zach Hahn is right behind him, too. They are trying to crowd.
There's a little wolfing going on, too. He's talking to Gilbert Brown.
It looked like the contact, it looked like the arm went up, and there was 1.3 seconds.
Mack is talking to Brown right there in the middle of the lane.
I'll tell you what, if I were Gilbert Brown, this would be firing me up.
Yeah.
Game clock will reset for 1.4 seconds.
1.4 seconds is the call, but time for Gilbert Brown, 78% on the season at the free throw line. 3 for 3 at the stripe tonight for the Sweet 16.
To me, that's always the important one.
No timeouts remaining for Butler. I don't know that I've ever seen a game end like this in the NCAA tournament. I've been doing this for 16 straight years. Missed it! Rebound Howard! Did we have a foul? I think we may have had a foul.
Oh my goodness!
Alan McGee fouled him.
Again?
Yes!
Well, now they're gonna look and see if the foul came before the. Oh my!
I don't know that I've ever seen anything quite like this. Watch the time remaining. Well, he grabbed his arm. There's no doubt about that. So Butler will go to the other end and have a chance to win it with virtually no time left. And Gary McGee just cannot believe it.
The arm went up with 0.8 seconds. No question about it. Could anything more happen in 1.4 seconds?
Wow, and Shelvin Mack, who is breathing the most, he's breathing the biggest sigh of relief. Great presence of mind.
Well,
And it was not McGee. It was actually Nasir Robinson that got the foul. So I want to make sure that we get that corrected.
All Matt Howard was trying to do was throw the ball away to run clock out and get to overtime. Now he's going to have a chance to win it.
And poor Gilbert Brown, after such a remarkable performance, have the iron unkind at the most inopportune time.
There is not a person sitting down in the building right now.
And there you see the Howard family, the sisters, Amanda and Susie. 0.8 on the clock. Well, you begin to wonder, gee, what could be done in 0.8 seconds linked to the floor after a free throw or two? Two shots.
Two shots. That was not a shot attempt. He was just trying to throw the ball up in the air.
But in the double bonus, so too. And it is then only fair for those Howard ladies to have another opportunity to jump for joy with their brother at the free throw line. And the anguish on the other end for Pittsburgh is, the range of emotions here, Mike, is unlike anything I've ever witnessed. Twice in 2 games, Matt Howard has had a chance to win it. He converted and purposely missed that one. Game over. That one almost went in. Did you see how close that came to going in? It would not have counted, but it almost went in. Butler is going to the Sweet 16. The Big Easy awaits.
I don't know that I've seen the last 7 seconds like that, Tim. Just so much happening, and all foul calls in that situation.
It began with a foul with 1.4 seconds remaining with Shelvin Mack. A free throw made and then a free throw missed. And then Nasir Robinson grabbing the arm of Matt Howard after he had collected a rebound, presumably to secure overtime. And then Howard made the first, purposely missed the second to win it by 1.